Brilliant. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining. I'm Stacey Seltzer, the founder of Hudson Lab School and a founder of Hudson Lab Ventures, and also the founder of Co-Created, which is a venture studio with offices in New York and London, where I am tonight, as well as Copenhagen and San Francisco. And really excited to talk with everyone about our Hudson Lab Ventures Summer Innovation and Entrepreneurship programs. And really happy to be joined by Sweta and Sophia, who are also going to be joining us. And so I'll just start quick. I'm going to share a little bit of a deck, and then they will talk, and then I can talk a little bit more about the program. But just to kind of give a flavor of the overall feel, I thought we'd just start with this quick video, which is kind of talking about or gives you an indication of what the experience is like. So this is from one of our programs in Lisbon. So here we go. All right, so that just is the kind of teaser. But for the moment, I thought maybe Sophia and Sweta, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, I could go first. Hello, m my name is Shweta. I'm a co-founder of Diskills. I'm pretty sure most of you who are in here, you probably came here from one of my Diskills reels or my Instagram stories. Let me know in the chat if that's where you came from. But the reason that I started Diskills was I wanted a chance to basically give the framework that I wish that I had in high school, which like taught students how to create their own paid internships, their own paid opportunities, so on and so forth, while basically allowing them to make the most impact that they can in the most unique way and to forge their own pathway and create their own career path, especially in this crazy world that we now live in. Um, One of the things that pushed me to be a part of the Hudson Lab Ventures program, I'm actually going to be in Lisbon with Sophia from late June all the way to July. I'm just really excited to make like real impact for real businesses, like in person, because what I've done, I've only impacted businesses online. I had to reach out to them. I had to do like all the outreach myself, but here I get to work with like real reputable corporate companies on something that would actually be used. So that appealed to me. And just working with a bunch of students together to create something awesome because I used to only work on stuff alone. I get to work with students who are just as empowered as me to create impact as possible by combining our unique skills and to actually see how like real businesses like it. And it's fun to explore a different country, I always say. And Sophia can agree with me on that. But Sophia, would you like to go next?
Yeah, absolutely. So, hey everyone, I'm Sophia Patznick, the 18-year-old founder of Double Down Desserts and an almost high school graduate. My journey started with DeSkills' Impact 10 Sprint, where I learned how to land paid projects and gain digital tools to help grow my dessert business using AI. Since then, I've built Double Down Desserts from the ground up, and now I'm stepping into a new chapter with HLV. As a small business owner, I learned how to hustle, adapt, and figure things out on the fly. But I know there's a bigger playing field. What excites me the most about working with HLV is a chance to step inside the world of corporations to understand what drives their decisions, what problems they're trying to solve, and how to communicate in a way that builds real trust and moves forward. I'm here to master how to position myself, my business, and future opportunities in a way that speaks their language and meets their needs, because that's how contracts get signed, partnerships are built, and real growth happens. With HLB support, I'm mastering how to connect the day-to-day grind of running a small business with the strategy and structure that drives corporate success, and I'm super excited to be a part of the Lisbon session with Shweta. So thanks.
Well, and I'm super excited to have you both there. It's going to be awesome. Lisbon is a fantastic city, and we have fantastic program partners there, and fantastic corporate sponsors, and really interesting challenges that we're going to be working on this summer. All right, so Hudson Lab Ventures was founded several years ago. This will actually be our fourth year of running it, and we are part of an innovation ecosystem that empowers high school learners and with entrepreneurial and collaborative problem solving skills in our 2 week summer entrepreneurship and innovation programs. We are at the heart of these and like to build what we call innovation ecosystems. And what makes the program really unique, and Shweta and Sophia kind of talked about this, what we do is we bring together stakeholders from all over really the world, but all over a particular environment. So governments, students, teachers, businesses, accelerators, nonprofits, universities, we bring those all together to solve real problems that these institutions and organizations are grappling with, and to have our students like do the real work to have impact like in those environments. So some of the companies and places that you see here are just some of the companies that we've been working with. This work was part of the reason that Lisbon won the European Capital of Innovation a couple of years ago, and the program has just continued to grow and become really an impactful, an important part of the innovation ecosystem over there in Lisbon and now also in Porto. As I mentioned, I'm the founder of Hudson Lab Ventures and Hudson Lab School, and a venture studio called Co-Created. And it co-created, so my background was in building new products and services in big companies. And then I went out and started working as a venture investor and eventually as an operator and entrepreneur myself. And after we had built and sold a couple businesses, we founded a venture studio called Co-Created, where we work with entrepreneurs to build and launch new businesses. And we work with Fortune 500 companies to help them launch new products and services. So over the last 15 years, we've launched over 120 different businesses within the studio. And so the entrepreneurs there have created, over 10 billion in enterprise value, have sold millions and millions of products, created thousands of jobs. And the people who are teaching and working on this program are those exact people. So they're entrepreneurs, they're innovators, they're educators drawn from our experiences and contacts and network in the world to come and do this work. So you're really learning from kind of the best of the best. We kind of have this teaching model, which we call teach, practice, do, which is that we teach a skill and then everybody kind of practices it in a quick, like cases that we've made and put together. But really, the whole essence of the program is that the students who are on the program get to do the work. They get to dive in and execute and work. And it's your creativity, your ownership, your work that is so impressive for these companies. And that's why our corporate partners have been coming back again year after year and helping us expand the program, because they're so impressed by what the students at Hudson Lab Ventures is doing. Oh, there's that slide that I was talking about. These are some of the companies that we've worked with and are some of our clients at the studio. And the curriculum and the practices and everything that's used on this summer program are the exact things that are being used by these companies and the entrepreneurs in our studio to launch and build new products every day. So it's like very real world experience. This is kind of the general shape of the program, just some of the different skills that you'll get that we cover during the program. And so you get like a real mini MBA and way to learn about these best practices by going through a lot of material. Again, in that teach, practice, do that we teach something quick, we do a couple quick examples, and then you get to do and dive in and get to work on it yourself. So these are a bunch of the different, just further key concepts that are going to be included in there. Everything from design thinking and the lean startup approach, so key elements from entrepreneurship, to best practices in insight and ideation, so persona development and user journeys and problem reframing, to the essences of running a small business, like how do I figure out pricing? How do I figure out my go-to-market strategy? And then, of course, all of this is about communication and storytelling and collaboration and kind of creativity as you work with the other people involved on your team. So the student experience is really team-based. You'll be working with a lot of other students and things. You get to meet a lot of really interesting people. On any one of our cohorts, we usually have about two-thirds of the group are local students and a third of it are international students from around the world. So it's a really fun and interesting group. We really encourage everyone to kind of lean into things that they're interested in. And so there's a lot of like personal growth and things that come along with the experience. So the way that we've designed this is to allow you to kind of get this overall experience about entrepreneurship and innovation. But also, if you're interested, you can kind of do a deeper dive into some of the specific areas about business and about entrepreneurship and innovation. So looking at, marketing, we have different tracks. So you can kind of look at the marketing track, the business track, the product development track. And while you'll get to work on the overall product or service design and solution, like the team has to work on it together, like you'll have specific responsibilities within those tracks as you're going along if you're doing one of those. So we focus on that kind of personal growth and learning and diving into the things you're interested in. And then also we work to make sure that everyone's, comfortable working in a team and working with people that they're excited about and like working and to develop those kind of leadership skills that come along with that and that kind of collaboration, which is so important when you get out into the business and real world. We have everybody put together an about me sheet so like people get to know each other, and we have a lot of fun along the way as well. So we're doing all sorts of games and activities and things. So it's a really fun experience, and you get to meet a lot of really interesting people who then can become your teammates. The program has been designed to be a multi-year experience. And so what we found is that our students are coming back year after year as they kind of level up through the program. It starts by being a participant, but then students can come back in subsequent years to be student leads and actually be the ones leading teams, which is super cool. They know that experience and now they can help others go through it. And then actually students from our program have been going on and getting, opportunities to present to the CEOs or the boards or the GMs of some of the companies that we've been working with. Others have been asked to kind of intern or do different projects with them. So there's a really cool pathway through the entire program. This is the crew from Lisbon last year. This is the crew from Porto. It was really nice of them to have brought us this sign. So again, these are some of the skills that are included: teamwork, strategic thinking, the entrepreneurial mindset, problem solving, and learning how to pitch, which are all kind of critical elements, whether you're working in a big company or whether you're working in a startup, or really whether if you're working in a nonprofit. Like these are all things that go into having an impact in your career in whatever environment you're going to be in. Some of the past innovation challenges that we've looked at, just so you get a sense of some of the things that we've looked at, and then we can talk about what we're going to be looking at this summer. These are some of the sponsors, and some of them are coming back. So we've worked with organizations like the Harvard Graduate School of Education. We've worked with San Francisco-based startups like Brightline and MyFitnessPal. And in other markets, we've worked with leading companies like Sonai and José de Mello, which are some of the largest employers and the largest companies in Portugal. As I mentioned, a bunch of these companies are coming back. So this summer, we're going to be working with Sonai again. We're going to be working with José de Mello again in Portugal, as well as we'll be working with Coupang in Korea, which is one of the largest private employers there. They're kind of the Amazon of Korea. Columbia University Business School is sponsoring the challenge for our project at Columbia. So the Tamer Institute there, which is a super cool organization at the business school to be working with. Each of these organizations gives us a real challenge that they're working on, right? So this is not made up work. It's not something that you're, some theoretical thing. These are things that they're dealing with and really want our students' inputs on. The San Francisco-based startup Brightline asked the question, how might we bring new mental health solutions to teens and families in underserved communities? At the time when we did this challenge with them, they had just won a big mandate from the state of California to expand their mental health and telehealth programming. And so they came to us to say, like, how do we do this? What are the best ways? How can we engage the community and engage families and young people in this so that we're serving them really well? Or the Harvard Graduate School of Education, we worked with them to look at how we might develop targeted interventions to address common issues that young people identified through their relationship mapping tool. One of my favorite ones over the last few years, we worked with the telecom part of Sonai. So that's like the Verizon or the AT&T in Portugal. And they have a youth brand called WTF. And we, of course, were like, wow, that must mean something different in Portuguese. But as it turns out, it means the same thing. And we're like, ooh, edgy. Not sure you could get away with that in the US. Um, but really interestingly, the European Union had regulated away their youth propositions, right? What they had been selling, like the TikTok phone or the Snapchat phone. So, like, you got your data package and you got your minutes, and your TikTok always worked, and it worked really well. But the EU regulators came in and said, you can't tell people what apps to use, and you can't preference the traffic on the back end because of internet regulations. And so they said, hey guys, you have to start again. And so it was super cool because they came to us and our students to go, what do you guys want in a phone or a phone package and phone service? Like, what is meaningful to you? And like, how would you go about launching this new product or service? I mean, Sophia and Shweta, like, can you imagine the company coming to you guys being like, all right, go figure out what phone service should be for young people. So it was super cool because that's what our students got to work on. And this is just one of the solutions that teams came up with. And it was something that the phone company had not been aware of at all. One of the teams put together a platform that would allow students to do volunteer work in their communities in exchange for data and phone minutes on their phone. The team ended up designing this entire package and this, like, the programming. They designed the interface for the app and like all these kind of things. And so they ended up pitching this back to the company. And this was totally off the radar of that telco. And so it was like really impactful for them to see. And they were very excited about this because, of course, they were, thinking about much more kind of traditional approaches. Now, underlying this whole pitch are all these different skills that you're working on. So while it looks like this kind of like elegant pitch, in fact, there's loads of work that goes into it, from understanding your customer and discovering the problem and then reframing that problem and then figuring out, doing your research to figure out like exactly how you're going to tackle it. Then you have to design your approach and like how do you understand your customers? And so you're like looking at your business model. The teams go and do like wireframing and user interface design. They do lots of customer discovery, and we look at go-to-market strategies, and we go out and we do as much validation as we can by talking to actual customers. And then we work on designing how we would launch this. And we do as much work as we possibly can in these 2 weeks to make it as real as possible. And every time, the companies that we're working with have just been blown away by the work that the students at Hudson Lab Ventures are doing. And as I mentioned, that's led to things like internships and other things. It's also led to those companies going like, hey, we got to bring this back and like show our own product teams how much this group can get done. And they're really amazed by it. All right, so a little bit more into the details of the program. It runs for 2 weeks. It's Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 4:30. There are breaks throughout, and we also do kind of social events and things in the afternoons and evenings. Here are our dates. So in New York City, we'll be at Columbia University from July 14th to July 25th. There are 3 sessions running this year in Portugal, 2 in Lisbon, and 1 in Porto. And then for the first time, we're launching in Seoul this year as well. So from July 28th to August 8th, we'll be working in Seoul. So really excited about that. As mentioned, we also have social outings. Everybody gets to work hard, but also play hard. So we do things like go out to sporting events. We go sightseeing in Lisbon, or Port. The team went surfing in Porto. So there's a lot of fun to be had along the way as well. These are a little bit of the nitty-gritty details. There are some slots still open in each of the programs, but there's limited. So it is worth noting you have to be at least 14 to stay in the dorms for both the New York City and international programs. And there's the pricing on the right. The real differentiator here is that you're doing real work and you get this like real insight and visibility into what these companies are working on. The companies are really aware of it. And so this is just one of the quotes that came from one of the executives that we're working with. All right, that is the quick overview. What did I miss, Sophia, Shweta? Tell me what I should be talking about. If people have questions, let me know.
One thing that I would say is like if y'all are like major Discills fans, another benefit you get is you get to meet us in person if you sign up for the one in Portugal.
That's true. Very true. I love
Yeah.
that.
If there are any questions about anything about like how the program's gonna work, what's gonna be covered, how you're gonna basically be creating your own work experience, feel free to let us know, like in the chat, and we will answer any questions. Or if you have any comments or concerns, those are good to mention as well.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a great program to attend to if you are an aspiring business owner and entrepreneur and you don't know where to start, because starting from the ground up can be a lot and it can be really overwhelming because you don't know what challenges you're going to face. And when they do arise, how are you going to overcome it? So, definitely getting this hands on work experience from people that have already been in your shoes and that have already found solutions to the problems that you're asking, this can definitely be a way to meet with them in person and learn a little more.
Well, and I love that framing of it because one of the reasons that we created our venture studio is that we found that the most impactful people in our journeys as entrepreneurs were other entrepreneurs, right?
Mhm.
There were people who had been there who had experienced that. You know, Sophia and Shweta, in running your businesses, you've gotten this. You're like, oh no, I'm facing this issue. How do I get more customers? Or like, I have this
Mhm.
angry customer, and like, how do I handle them? Like all these kind of things. And the best other people to talk to are other people who have gone through that experience. And so, like as mentioned, this kind of teaching crew and the curriculum that we've designed is brought like basically from best practice in these areas.
Right.
All right, we have a question from Fran, which is, do you already need to have experience starting a business like you two? And the answer is no, not at all.
No.
There's no kind of prerequisites here. There isn't, you know, these skills are super useful both for launching your own thing, but really working in any kind of environment. We actually originally designed this curriculum as a corporate education program, and we continue to and do teach it these days at companies you know, Citibank and Unilever and others. Um, and then we took it down to the graduate school level, and then we took it down to the university level and here at the high school level. But you're literally doing the same work and going through the kind of same processes that we do with, you know, Fortune 500 C-suite executives. And so like, even though, and believe me, they they know how to run a big enterprise and have like lots of business experience, but a lot of times they actually don't know, you know, like what the latest practice is in social media marketing or what the latest practice is in terms of product design or UI, because it's a very different experience. And
Mhm.
so they, you know, there's some, and I think this is one of the reasons that the corporate partners that we work with are so enthusiastic about what the work that our students are doing is because it's actually the creativity and perspective and everything that you bring as a student on the program that they're really interested in learning. And a lot of times, like, you know, the partners that we're working with actually even learn a lot from our students.
How many students repeat for the next level and do they continue on the same project?
Oh, thanks for great questions. That's an interesting question. We've had, uh, I'd say we probably have about 20 to 30% kind of return from year to year in some of our programs. Um, you know, being able to like coming back and being student leads. But each challenge is totally unique. So, and I'm actually glad that you brought that up. So, like this summer, we're going to be looking at a variety of challenges, ranging from things like education and AI and the impact of AI on education and what that's going to mean for students and teachers and universities and schools and everything. So that's like one of the areas we're looking at. We're going to be looking with the Tamer Institute, we're going to be looking at sustainability and a bunch of things about dealing with the environment and reducing the impact and how people can understand that space. As I mentioned, we're going to be working on e-commerce and that with Coupon in Seoul, as well as working and looking at retail challenges, likely with Sonai's grocery retailer and maybe some of the things in terms of food sustainability and things
Okay.
like that in one of the Lisbon sessions. So
There's another question that says, would this work
yeah,
for a rising senior or is it better for younger students?
my answer is that it is like it definitely works for rising seniors. It also like for exceptional younger students, it's also applicable. The reality is that as I go back to is like you can take the program as far as you want. This is literally the same curriculum and the same work that we do, whether it's like high school, university, graduate students, like entrepreneurs launching companies like BarkBox and Row and Public, all the way up to the C-suite executives at leading private equity and public companies. And so we are able to kind of deliver it and work and match you at the level that you're at, and you can take it as far as you want to go. So the question was that I think my team is intimidated by the language of business, but wants to learn. Again, we're really able to meet our students where they are. And so we're going to support the whole group. And definitely, as we talked about earlier, there are no prerequisites for this. And so we take the entire group through the program, kind of at the same level. And it's a very encouraging kind of process and structure. And so you'll work in small teams and there's lots of opportunities to work in different teams. And so like we're able to find kind of the right level for everybody. But you definitely do not have to have like a business background or those kind of things. This program is perfect for beginning to learn those things and really leaning into all the fun and like interesting elements of it, whether that's marketing, whether that's design, whether that's product development, whether that's business modeling. But we're all kind of starting from a beginner level.
Parents always ask, what is it that our, kids will be learning? And so we're literally the simplest way to think about it is we are teaching kids and students how to identify a problem, and then how to reframe it, and then how to create solutions with the team and using their creativity, and then be able to effectively communicate their solution to other people. And at the at the most basic level, that is what they are learning. All of these other business terminologies, we don't throw those around necessarily, or start doing. Business school students love to throw around all these acronyms, and so this is I think having Shweta and Sophia here, since they're such amazing entrepreneurs at such a young age, but most of our students actually come in not knowing anything about business, and honestly, all of the business terminology that we had a couple slides on, that's probably new to both Shweta and Sophia as well. So there's no real reason to feel like, oh, this is gonna be over my head, or I'm gonna have to come in knowing all this information. This is really about, how do I solve a problem with other people using my creativity, and then how do I communicate my ideas effectively?
I love that, Kate. That's exactly what it is. I love that. Really nicely said. There's another question here, which is the student able to do a research project coming out of this program? I'd say that there's certainly the potential for that, and we certainly have had students go on and work on building the projects that they designed. One of the teams last year in Lisbon hypothesized the problem that they got really interested in was that there were not good opportunities for high school students to get internships in Lisbon and in Portugal more broadly. And so their solution was a kind of marketplace for internships and different jobs and like skill building for high school and university students. And after the program ran for the 2 weeks, that team went and spent the rest of the summer working on building that. So there's certainly possibilities, and we're happy to help try and facilitate those kind of things as they come up and where they're worth doing. And as I've mentioned as well, a bunch of the corporate partners have gone on and asked students to do things like present to the CEO, present to the board, do an internship. So I think with some good work and creativity and good solutions, that's certainly a possibility. I just want to thank everybody for joining us this evening. Really appreciate your interest in the program. Thank you to Shweta and Sophia for joining. We're super excited to see you in Portugal. And I'd encourage everybody to apply. We have a really fun time and get to do really interesting and cool work. So thanks so much for your interest.